What's up, everybody? Welcome to this new Lightshare episode. It's been a while. I'm here with Dom. I hope Andrea can join us later, but we wanted to start this conversation talking about some advice on art portfolio and stuff like that. Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
it's more of just people taking advice and not applying it to whatever it is. It doesn't have to be art related, but things related to fitness or personal lifestyle or business or just trying to like make moves in life. They're retaining the information, but they're not actually putting it into action. I think that's what we see with a lot of young people or like people going into the industry for the first time or stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I guess we can
because a
like,
lot of this stuff kind
yeah,
of spills onto other areas as well. Like it's
hmm
all connected in a way. It's
yeah,
just a mindset. Once you fix it on one of these blocks, it kind of affects the others.
true. So how have you have seen that in your life, like with maybe people you've encountered or artists, maybe?
Yeah, it's a good question because I think where I see it the most is probably like, yeah, like we are artists, right? And this is what we work on. So it's where we usually tend to absorb most of this information from, like, hey, how can I improve my work? How can I get better? How can I do this? How can I apply for jobs? What should I say? What should
Yeah,
I show in my portfolio? All these things. But then if you think about it, it's the same questions with, like, how do I get in shape? How do I get better at this? How can I run farther distances? How can I get less tired? Which kind of shoes should I use? What time of the day is it better to it's like
yeah,
same questions, like which brush should I use? Which shoes should I use? How fast should I run? Like how fast should I paint? It's like the same, they walk the same lines.
hmm
And I don't know exactly like how to approach this topic right now because it's like we
yeah.
just got started. We need some warm
Because
up, right? But
I think the hardest part is starting, right? Most people just have a hard time putting their shoes on if they're going running or like putting
that's a
the
great
pen to
point.
paper, right?
Yeah,
And it kind of stunts their ability to grow in the present moment, I guess, because they're thinking about the future, like, oh, what is this outcome going to be if I do this the wrong way, you know? And it creates things like, what's the word? Um, I can't think
like
of it
they
right now.
constantly delay the
Yeah,
thing. You know,
right.
like it's hard. Like you said, it's the hardest thing is to get started, right?
hmm
It's the most difficult step, maybe. Um, maybe it's not the most difficult one, but definitely one of them.
Yeah,
So it's because you don't feel like it. Like oh, I don't feel like it. Maybe later on. I don't know. Tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tomorrow we start.
yeah.
And then you find yourself in the same situation again. Today I don't feel it either, you know? I don't feel like it. So maybe tomorrow. And that's how you enter this cycle of never actually doing anything, never taking action.
hmm Yeah. I feel like I've given dozens of like portfolio reviews to lots of different students, and there will only be a few who actually apply the advice that I give them. And then there'll be like a couple who just kind of, you know, they'll listen to the advice and then months later they'll come back to me and ask like, how do you do it again? Or this isn't working.
See, that's
And
what
I'm
I'm
like,
talking about.
ah. Yeah.
When when I started the episode right now and I said, yeah, like we want to talk about this, like advice on portfolio and stuff. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Like
Right.
when you're being given advice on how to improve your work because you asked for it,
hmm
yet then you choose not to do anything with that advice, with that information. And you have in front of you some prominent figure in the art world telling you exactly what you need to do. And
The
then you
step by
go
step.
home
Yeah.
And yeah, what's on TV, or like, let me watch this other show, or stuff like that. Like, you don't really take action on the advice that you got.
Right. Just
That's a
goes
mistake.
one ear out the other with a lot of
Yeah.
people.
You may think that at the moment you're being given that advice, you may think that, but they don't know all the details. So maybe he's giving me this advice from a blind spot, maybe because he doesn't know the details of my story. So
Mhm.
he's telling me to increase the saturation in this area. And I'm like, no, my story is about like all flat color, like that, like
Yeah.
black and white stuff, very desaturated. Or I don't know, I'm just coming up with silly examples. But what I mean is, like, you have the sensation that they don't know as much as they think they know. And then you go home and think you're better, and then that's how you end up delaying your growth.
Right.
It's easier to just simply take in the information you've received, implement that advice and see if it works. So they tell you this piece needs to be redone, and you do it again.
Mhm.
You just go there, fix the little scale issues, the little contrast issues here, and that's it. But
Yeah.
most of the times, and I'm speaking from my own perspective here because I've done this, I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, cool advice. I'll do it on my next painting, not on this one. Like, this one's
It happens
done.
a
This
lot.
one is like, so I'm sure just like I did, many other people are doing as well. But
Mhm.
I'm just saying it truly helps, to go back and fix some stuff you did wrong,
Right.
and that's how you have another piece that is correct.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have this problem too as a beginner artist where, as a young person, you kind of feel like you know everything, or at least you have an idea of where you want to go. But then once you get more experience, you're like completely knocked on your ass and you're totally wrong. Like, I think I've encountered that quite a lot, especially when I made my first portfolio and I got it roasted by my teacher. I think that was like a truly humbling experience where I really didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't about to take his advice, but then once I actually applied his advice, then it started to work. Then that made me realize that I just had to shut up and listen to the person that is like having the experience,
That's it.
because people don't want to listen. They just want to be validated, right? They want to go to the person to ask for the advice and tell them or ask them if they're doing it right, you know?
Yeah, totally. I feel like that's a trait that takes us down the wrong path a lot of times.
Yeah,
Like, thinking you know better, and that only closes doors for you
right.
because you're no longer that receptive to like new information, a different point of view. So, but it's wrong because you go there to those events and stuff and ask for feedback, and they
Mhm.
give you the feedback, yet you don't apply it.
So
So
how do you get a
what's the
job,
point?
Adrian?
Yeah. Like, what can I do, Adrian? Like, how do I fuck do I know, bro? Like, you just work on yourself,
Yeah.
improve yourself, get yourself together, and then things start happening for you. It's just,
I
I know it sounds like magic, but
Mhm.
it's truly the way it works.
I think that's the missing ingredient. I feel that people um they forget or they skip that step where they have to work on themselves also, not just on their portfolio, but like soft skills and hard skills also play a role with each other, like learning how to communicate, um, being like presentable, because I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people aren't as presentable, like they don't come off as professional when they put themselves out there in the real world, right? They're not dressed well, they're kind of just messy.
I
So
mean, imagine
that
you're trying to
all,
hire someone and they're
yeah,
like lacking all communication skills. Like, they're just there,
yeah,
blank, staring at the screen. Yeah. No.
So tell me about yourself. They're like, oh
I
shoot,
like
I don't know.
painting. It's like, bro, what the fuck? Come on, like, give me something. Give me
Yeah.
backstory. Like, what do you like? What do you don't like? What's your artistic interests? All that stuff. Like sci-fi, hard surface, organic design, fantasy. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like, give me something. Like, where can I put you in my team?
Mhm.
In which department? Like, in which section? In which? Give me something. I can see your work, but tell me something about yourself, you with your own voice in your own words. Of course, it's cool to write it down on a resume and like a cover letter and all that stuff, but come on, like, I'm going to be working with you on a day to day basis. So I want to
A lot of people
know who
don't.
I'm getting on.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't know how to do that. Just answering like the
Yeah,
most basic question. I think it see, and then that goes back to like working on yourself, right? Like
exactly.
really improving your mind and your body. Um,
Hey,
because
can I stop you for a second there? Like, let's talk about that. Like, we're
yeah,
always saying, like, yeah, you have to improve yourself. Yeah, you have to learn how to do this. But let's talk about the how. Like,
yeah.
how would you do that? How would you improve your speech, your communication skills, and all that stuff for anyone listening right now?
So in my experience, it would just be putting yourself out there in social situations where you have to interact with a group. Like just saying hello, how are you? Like, what are you working on? That sort of thing. Or like, what are you up to? That already breaks the barrier of social communication. And then also, like, getting enough sleep is also another important thing. So you have the brain capacity to know what to say. Because
Yeah.
oftentimes when you lack sleep, your brain can't think of words to like put together cohesively.
Hey,
So you're
Dom,
just like,
why would
what?
you lack sleep? Why would you lack sleep?
Yeah, why?
Why could you possibly not get all the sleep time you need?
Because it's for old people, bro. It's
No, I
for
mean, what could potentially cause you not to get that? Like, and we're not talking, I'm a family guy, I have to take care of my family, I have to work a job, I have to go home late, take care of my people. We're talking about like maybe a
endless
16-year-old,
scrolling
19-year-old,
on social media.
endless scrolling on social media. So, um, abusing phone time, basically, right?
Yeah.
You're just laying there in bed with your phone in your face like this,
Hmm.
just scrolling endlessly. Doom scrolling is what they call it, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, your perception of time is like warped.
Hmm.
It's suddenly 3 a.m. You have like 4, 5 hours, maybe, depending
Hmm.
on what time you wake up, which is another topic I think we should
Yeah.
get into. You have to set up like a schedule,
Right.
and soon enough, your body gets used to it. And it works for everything. It works for sleeping, for working out, for diet, like when you eat through the day and stuff, and also for work. Like you know your blocks of time. You know when you have to sit down and do the work. You know when you can actually go have fun. You know when you can enjoy some nice meal. You know all these things because you're used to that new schedule. But if you're just living in this chaotic experience of like, yeah, I can do anything anytime I want. So it's like no limitations and no um what would you call this? No, yeah, no direction maybe also.
Hmm. Right.
Because where are you going? What are you trying to achieve?
There's no compass leading to which area they need to go through in life. And I'm seeing this a lot in people these days where everyone's just super depressed, I think. We see this all around us on social media. Like, what is the point of all this? What is the point of even, doing the work or like doing art anymore because there's someone else better than me? Or, yeah,
It's like self-discouraging
self
thoughts, like
destruction, self negativity.
what's the point anyway?
Yeah.
There's this bad thing out there that's threatening my existence, my career, my profession, my I don't know, you name it. What's the point in me even trying to defeat it?
Yeah. This non-sentient being or whatever, this non-human being that's out there.
I like how we're trying so hard not to name it. But yeah, I don't know.
But
Like
yeah, going back to the point,
it's
like when you see like other people's habits and how they're living day to day, you kind of realize like why they're in that spot, right? Like they're that self-destructive state of depression or self-loathing. It's just all about
that's the
daily
thing, right?
habits. Mhm.
But it's sometimes it's hard to see from your first person view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like someone comes to you complaining about this and that, and you're like, you ask them a couple questions, like, "Hey, how do you sleep? How do you work out? How do you live your life?" And then they tell you those answers. They give you those answers, and then you're like, "Bruh, of course you're feeling this way. Like I would feel that way too if I was in your situation. You have to change
Hmm.
this little thing here, this little thing here,
But then they
and
might
come back to me
say,
and tell me how it went."
"Oh, but
Oh
I
no, no,
do
you
do
don't.
those
You don't
things.
understand. Yeah, you don't get it, Adrian. Is
I do
of
do
course I
those
don't
things
get
every
it.
day. Maybe like 5 minutes or 10 minutes." Like, okay,
Of course I don't get it,
how
bro.
come
Like
you're
I'm not
still
in your
feeling that way?
shoes.
Yeah. It's like,
You're the one going through
mhm,
all of that, but I
right.
can I can only give you some, I don't know, some little advice based on my own experience,
Hmm.
like what worked for me and stuff like that. And we know like what works for you might not work for me and vice versa and all that stuff. But there's a chance, you know? There's always this probability kind of thing, which to me, even as little as 1% is enough to try because it might work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when they come to you with those, "Help me, dude. I don't know
Questions.
what to do."
Mm.
Yeah, please. It's so bad. It's so bad. I'm facing this struggle and I'm like genuinely trying to help. Like, okay, so what do you do in the morning? Like when you wake up, what do you do? Oh, I just do this and that. And it's almost always about like some distraction, entertainment, you know?
Right.
So as soon as you wake up, you're already looking for a way out. Quick, grab the phone. Quick, internet, quick, social media or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it's lacking a goal what causes all of that trouble.
A
What's your
goal and a
goal?
purpose, I think.
Oh, my goal? Um, I don't know. And they kind of think about like bro, that's the problem. Like, what do you want? Because
Like
there
what?
is a lot of stuff you want to get done, you want to accomplish. You're just
Mhm.
letting it float around in your chaotic mind, never actually putting your finger on it. You can't even identify your own dreams.
I think
Everybody has one, man.
yeah, I feel like a lot of artists going into the art world for the first time, they don't really have a purpose or a direction in mind initially, right? A lot of people are
Neither
just
did we. We
drawing.
didn't have any of that either.
Yeah.
Like when let's be honest. Like when you started, what did you have in mind? Why are you an artist nowadays? Because you
I
thought,
just
oh, I can
wanted to
get jobs
draw
at
like cool
studios.
stuff, but I didn't know this could lead anywhere. Like I'm just drawing cool images for the sake of drawing cool images, but it wasn't directed towards like a journey or like a, like an end point per se. Like I had
Yeah,
to
you're just
finish this thing,
following.
but I'm just mindlessly pumping out pretty paintings, but it's just forever and ever and ever, right? There's no like,
Yeah, it's
where am I going? Where's this story going? Right?
it's what you like to do, right?
Yeah.
And same story happened to me. Like I don't know, I'm just passionate about this. This is what I like to spend my time doing, and I like it. And then one day you figure out that, hey, this has some potential that can be applied to a market. So it can be monetized as a skill. And that's when you find out about
But Adrian, not everything
concept
has to
art.
be about money.
That's a good question.
So that's the thing that
we
people will always say, like, not everyone wants to work at a AAA company. Not everyone wants to.
Yeah, I mean,
Then,
the money thing, I think Andre is joining soon. Oh, here he
yo,
is.
what's up, dude?
So,
Welcome.
Hello.
welcome,
Am
bro.
I completely freaking up your guys' recording?
No,
No,
bro.
you're in the
We
perfect
were just
time
yeah.
point.
So Dom just
I'm
asked.
What's
sorry
up?
for the delay.
It's
It's all
okay.
good.
Don't worry. So, not everything has to be about money, is what Dom said in the voice of some other person. But Adrian, it
What
doesn't have.
stupid idea. Of course it needs to be about money. Like, what else are we doing here?
There you go. Like,
Ah,
okay. See you in the next episode,
Exactly.
guys. Yeah, we were talking. So let's do a quick recap for Andre. Like, we're just discussing like people asking for advice on how to improve themselves, like their art, their situation in life, their physical, whatever,
mhm.
and not really implementing that advice that they're getting. Like, they take pleasure in like soaking in that knowledge, and then that's it. Yeah, I got the
I
dopamine rush. Like, I know there's a way to turn this around, but I'm never gonna actually put in the work and get it done
I
because that's
almost feel
hard, right?
like, yeah, I almost feel like people already know the answer. It's not like the
Exactly.
answer is not hard. It's not something that is complicated most of the time, right? It's very simple. It's just hard to
Yeah,
do. Like, it's a simple, hard thing to do. So that's
Yeah.
why
it's
like
long term
people want.
commitment.
Yeah, yeah. It's like daily effort. Like even if it's small, like as much as you can every single day for as long as
Yeah,
you can. That's like in everything in life, right? Like in you guys are talking about money, and I'm not sure like exactly where that came into the conversation. But even in your like financial situation, right? It's always
Yeah.
yeah.
long term
Because,
Oh,
commitment.
we actually started talking about like how we started. Like, we didn't have a goal in mind when we were kids and just enjoying painting. Like, yeah, I love this. It's what we liked. Like, we enjoy this craft, and then later you figure out there's actually an application for the market. In real life, you can monetize this skill, and that's what led to the question of, yeah, but not everything's about money.
that's
And
what, like, a
here we
lot
are.
of, or some artists will say that not everything has to be monetized, or not all art has to be, about making money. So, what do you think about that? It's like,
Okay. Yeah, let's unpack it because like there's two different things here.
yeah,
The first one, like when Adrian says, "Oh, you had no goals, you were drawing like without the goal of becoming a professional artist." I think in my case it was the opposite. I had a goal in mind of what kind of a job did I want it, right? And then turns out that like, oh, you can actually like do this by drawing in. So when I picked, like, of course we all draw when we were kids and all that, but when I picked up drawing after I was like older in a more serious way, I did have a
Mhm.
goal in mind. So to me, it was very much a goal oriented thing. To like after I realized what is it that I wanted to do with my life, but then to the point of not everything needs to be monetized. Uh, yeah, in theory, like it doesn't need to be, but at the same time, uh, the sort of things that people say, oh, you don't need to monetize like your personal art or things that you actually want to do. In my eyes, if you can do that, like that's the best like outcome
yeah.
possible, right? Because then you can actually make money with the thing that you enjoy doing the most. Um, so
Or
yeah, you're
because
right. Like you don't need to monetize everything, but
I,
isn't that
f-
like a good thing
I
though?
feel at that point, it's like, why would you join the art to make a career out of it in the first place? you know, you might as well just do it as a hobby, I think.
Yeah,
And
maybe it's that, right? Like people want
yeah,
to relieve the pressure of, oh, this is work, right? And
yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
mean,
see like what you did, Dom, as a like this successful way to do that, right? Like
yeah.
your personal projects become something that you can monetize because
Mhm.
people are interested in that. But I don't get the vibe that the monetization or making the books or anything actually drives your will to do that. It's more
Yeah,
something that comes from you
like
to
a
the world
passion
instead of
thing.
like instead of the external pressure, right?
Mhm.
So
So, yeah.
I think it does have to be monetized in today's world, at least. It's like not everything's about money
Yeah.
until it is.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying everything has to be monetized,
Because
but I'm exactly saying same thing you said, Andre. Like, hey, if you enjoy doing this and you can make money with it, why the fuck not?
Yeah,
Right?
it's like you
sometimes I
don't have to,
feel
right? Like technically speaking, you don't have to.
that the same people who are saying that it shouldn't be monetized, I think, are struggling with money the most. You know, I don't know. That's how I see it from what I've seen. Like people who say it's not always
Yeah.
about the money tend to be the ones
You're
who.
talking like cases of envy and stuff like that, like projection.
Yeah, maybe that could be it.
Mhm.
Or it's
Well,
like that
okay,
person
so-
is making money with their art, but it shouldn't all be about money, you know? So why make money with art?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I'm.
I do think there's credit to like not everything is about money, right? Like, let's say that you have 2 jobs, right? One where your life will be hell, but you make a lot of money on it, and another
Mhm.
one that you enjoy every single day and you make a little bit less.
Mhm.
Like, I'm pretty sure that people will take the one that they can actually enjoy their lives a little bit more.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's not like all about money, right? But if you offer them like a wonderful job that pays nothing, they can't even make the rent, or another one where they make the rent and they make like a pretty good living, but the job sucks, right? It depends on the difference, like the gap, right?
Mhm.
So it's it doesn't matter if you have enough to like keep the lifestyle that you want, and
I
then
think people appreciate the short-term sacrifice of like killing yourself in the short term just to have a bigger baggage to spend later in life to position yourself in a better place, you know, on this whole battlefield of life, you know, like and the way everything's structured nowadays, right? Everything you need to lead like a normal life, normal lifestyle, then you have to have a certain of things like a certain check boxes marked, right? And it's like some people are trying to maybe rush that initial stage a little bit. Like you have the chance to occupy like a high position, like of it's a nice job, like you said, you know, but you're not making much. And you also have this chance to make way more money, but it's a shitty job, you know, not a life threatening job, nothing like that. It's just shitty. It's just
Like a dead
not
end
cool.
job kind of
But
thing.
you make a lot more money. So most of us would probably like, I was thinking of it and I'm like, I think I'll take that, man, for like a year or 2 years. I don't know. Make that initial money and then think through it
okay, so
after I'm done with
a,
it.
a couple of questions like
Mhm.
rise to my head when you say those things. The first one is like, what are those check boxes? They're like, oh, you have these check boxes that you think of when you think of a good life.
Yeah.
And the second one, it's although we are talking about like, yeah, most people will take the job that pays the most. Um,
There's nothing
let's
special
challenge that.
though. Nothing beyond the
No,
basics, you know,
yeah, but
safety,
like
food,
let's challenge that
accessibility. Yeah.
that view of the job a little bit and think in a more kind of like the not only being a shitty job, but what kind of human being you are becoming by taking that, because you're basically selling. Let's say it's a job that sucks, it's stressful, and like you do many hours,
Yeah.
right? But it pays a lot. And you mentioned that one of those core values for you, it's let's say your health, which is something that I
Yeah.
think the three of us kind of like agree on.
Mhm.
But you know that that job will affect your health, right? At which point are you actually selling your values for money?
If it's gonna affect my health, like seriously affect my health, then
Well, I mean,
no.
to me, to for me to consider something a shitty job, right? It has
Mhm.
to have a pretty like negative side to it. Otherwise, it's just
Well,
like any job has a shitty
yeah.
side and a good side, right? Like, there's no perfect
Of
job,
course,
even
yeah.
if you work like with dream clients or anything like that. Like,
Yeah. There's some
there's no
days you just
actual.
don't want to get it done. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
There's
fuck this, you
this
know?
this nice like saying here that's like, there's no dream job because in my dreams I don't work, you know. So it's like,
I guess at that
So
point it'd
that's
just
a cool
be
saying.
self-employment. That would be the dream, but you still have to work, even though, you know,
Mhm.
even though you might earn a lot more money. It depends.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of this question, the $1 billion question from Christian.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
when he asked us that question?
I
What would you
remember the
do with the
question. I don't
$1
remember our
billion?
answers.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting.
Would you
I
still be
mean,
doing the same thing you'd be doing, or would you
exactly.
not?
Yeah. Yeah, because we've been discussing so many times how, maybe there's something else to life than our dedication to our craft, whether you're a musician, you're a writer, artist, whatever you are, like there's more things. And that's that's been some of my realizations in the last months, years, that health really takes you far, man. Like but there's a poetic side to this, like willing to sacrifice part of that health for an idea or for a goal, like inventing something or crafting this new thing, whatever it is, a new artifact or a new story or whatever it is that you're coming up with. There's some poetic side to that, like sacrificing part of you in order to give birth to something bigger, you know? But like, hey,
I
let's take
do.
the cases of these bodybuilders, like they really sacrifice themselves like all those years, and there's like all these stories that, oh, he died early, he died at 50 and stuff like that because he he did everything he needed to do to win, right? And he led like a fucking amazing life that he was proud of. What's so wrong with that? Of course it's sad that he passed away earlier, but in his opinion, he was like doing his best, living his best life. So it's not that I'm defending the idea that I said
No,
earlier
yeah.
about like taking the shitty job and
So
just, getting your health
what we're
fucked
saying
up.
is basically like high performance is never healthy, right? In any kind of like area of life, even in
Yeah.
sports, right, where we see athletes as if they are like the pinnacle of health, they are actually not, right? Especially the high end stuff. There's always risks. They're always like getting
Taking
injured because they're
drugs and
pushing themselves. Like, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. It's like they're
Mhm.
pushing
anabolic
themselves so much,
steroids.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
But
so
because that's what's needed, it's dictated by that market, right? Hey, if you want to be the best in this,
yeah, which
you have to behave this way, which is detrimental to your health. But again, if that's aligning with your goals, you're going to do it.
is the same thing on I think in every single area of life, right? It's up
Yeah.
to each of us to decide what is it that we are like, how much sacrifice you are willing to make, and then
Yeah.
be at peace if you're not willing to make as much as the other guy, right? Like understand what's your point, right? Because I think a lot
Yeah.
of
Comparison.
yeah, the comparison, and it's something that I struggle a lot with, like compare myself to other people, um, because most people like that are their top of their game, they do make a lot of sacrifices, right? And then if we compare ourselves to them, when you are not making the same choices that they are, when you are
And you're not
like
in
you
the
don't
same
hold
position. Yeah.
you're
Not
not
the
the same
same
position,
circumstances.
you don't hold the same like values that they hold, like
Yeah.
they are sacrificing things that you have in certain ways, you know. So it's like as an example, you were talking about sacrificing health for the let's say the use the bodybuilders example, right? Like
Yeah. Not that I
we don't
would
have the
do it
bodies
though.
that they have, right? What?
Not that I would sacrifice that. I'm saying like I'm trying to understand other people who do that.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, right? Like they are sacrificing that, right?
Yeah.
And we don't have the bodies that they have, but we have like in a way more health than they have, right? Way more healthy body that they have, even though they look like
Yeah.
more muscular, like in a
From a
in a,
biological standpoint, right?
yeah, exactly. So it's like
A physical
then
point of view.
you need to put that in a like value scale, right? Like what are you valuing the most? Is it like your
Hmm.
physical appearance? Is it, I don't know, the size of her bicep or like the
It's the
size of her heart?
sprint
You know, like what's the
sprint against the marathon, right? like long term versus short term kind of experience.
And it's not to say that if you don't like, if you do it right, like in the, because there are I'm using the bodybuilders as an example just because it's the one that you started in, something that like I'm very passionate
But I
about, that we
meant
like the sport.
the ones that are just taking all the shortcuts, all the cheat codes,
Oh, so
right?
that's the thing, right?
I'm not talking natural working out,
The
exercise, and all that stuff.
But
Like
the
that's
interesting
fine.
thing is that in that world, it's not about like who takes the most, even though most people think it is, right? It's like who does it in the like most right way and balances like the optimum dose that will keep you in the game long enough, but also like keep you growing as much as possible. And like, and if you do that, all of that correctly, there's no possibility of not having side effects, but there's also a possibility of having like a decent life after you're old, right? So like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? The guy's still
Yeah,
up there and he's still like pretty healthy for his age and all of it. And of course, he
right.
took a bunch of things, and he was great in his time, like one of the best, if not the best ever. So it's not a like one-time decision of you're going to do this and then you will die early. It's just like you are increasing the risk, right? Like you're putting
Exactly.
more like uh placing a bet in a kind of way, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the advice stuff. How do you think this all ties into that? Like, we're talking
It's all
about,
about a decision.
Mhm.
What do you want? Right?
what do you want?
Yeah.
Why are you
And
coming to me
don't
with
ask
your
advice for people that like you, because a lot of what I see is people ask advice for like 10,000 different artists, right? And they get like multiple different answers and they don't apply any single one. So before
Yeah.
you
I
ask, like
mean,
really think about the person that you're going to ask the
yeah.
advice to, and think if you want to be in their position. Think like if there is someone that inspires you and that you like be motivated to listen. Otherwise, you are just looking for words of encouragement. You're not like really looking for a actual honest
It's
answer.
it's like reading all the self-help books and not putting that into action, or watching motivational videos. Like,
I mean, it feels good, right?
mhm.
So
Well,
that's what you take away. Like that good
but
feeling from reading those books, getting all that feedback from your
'Cause
favorite artists out there, and
it
then
makes you feel like you already
that's
did
it.
the action,
I
right?
can
Without actually doing the
I can
yeah,
action.
now I can go to sleep happy now. I'm
Yeah.
done.
that's
And you
well,
don't
don't
even
brag
have to
a
do
bit.
anything. That's what's wrong with it. Because then that's look, it's like a solution that doesn't last long because that's good for today, but tomorrow you'll have the same hunger again.
Right.
So you'll want to eat the same food again. You'll want to eat the same feedback, the same movies, the same content, to consume all that information again to feel better. But what you don't realize is that if you take the painful step of starting implementing that knowledge, that feedback, then it's like self-motivating long term. You no longer need anything from anyone unless you're stuck in some specific stage, of course, but it gets you going. You're no longer asking, "Hey Andre, which shoes do I need to get started on running?" Or, "Hey Dom, so which are the best gym rings, to get for like improving your push up or your pull up, whatever."
One's heavier,
Bro,
one's
just
lighter.
drop down to the
So
floor,
it's-
do 10
yeah.
push-ups or try a pull up on
Yeah,
the bar. I don't know.
I do like the idea of like asking advice after you started, or like presenting, hey, this is my result so far. What is wrong with it? Because it shows that you're already like doing something,
Yeah,
and
but we're
then
talking
it's
before, right? Before getting started,
yeah. So that's what I
which
said. Like if
is
you are asking before you do anything, then like
hmm,
that's completely in my opinion, that's the wrong way to do it. It's like
yeah.
that never even crossed my mind, like asking before you do anything, unless
Hmm.
like you are kind of like curious about it, or hey, so like what is your life like how is that career, like I'm
Yeah, yeah,
thinking
yeah.
of studying that, like that's fine, being curious about it. But the like, hey, give me a roadmap of how to do it, and like you never
Yeah,
even picked
like you
up a pencil.
genuinely want to do it, but you don't dare to get started before asking someone else exactly what the first step should be. Like, bro, You should just take any step, and then you figure it out. At
And
least you got started.
before we get started, like there's so much content online already that I don't even think you
Yeah.
need to ask anyone, right?
Do
Unless
you think that's a problem?
look,
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways it is, yeah.
It's like there's too much, right?
Oversaturated knowledge.
Too many options.
I'm really learning the value lately of narrowing down the kind of content that I consume. Like I am the kind of guy that has like 10,000 YouTube subscriptions, right? Like I'm subscribed to all of these different channels, and the more the time goes by, the
Including
more I
mine.
realize that no, I'm not subscribed to
Subscribe.
yours.
Subscribe to Adrian Virlan.
No, but in all seriousness, like most of the, as an example, your video, right? On that day, I think there was, I don't know, 30 videos that were posted. I think I only watched yours on that day. And it's making me realize, like, oh, I see the feed, right? And it's like, does this really interests me? Or is it just like to kill time? Like, is it just background noise, right? And
that's what I'm talking. You made a great point there, like being self-aware of your decisions, like what your mind is doing every time. It's what's going to help you to tell apart like good decisions from bad decisions. Which way do I want to go from here?
And you kind of like get into the mood, not the mood, like you kind of, the idea that we talked about in the past of like not breaking the chain, right?
Yeah.
That when you do things, you kind of like keep that.
You feel the pressure of like not messing up. Not today.
Yeah, exactly.
Equilibrium,
and I feel
right?
like it's the same thing for each decision that you make, right? So if you missed your workout that day, then you are more likely to skip like one of the meals of your diet for something worse, and you're more likely to watch a shitty YouTube video and not the right one that you should be watching, like not a class on something, not like something that has like I like to watch a lot of not necessarily science, but like mechanical engineering related videos, like technology and all of that. So there's that, and there's the, I don't know, the memes from like compilation of memes from, I don't know, right? So it's that
The
sort of thing.
monkey
Like there's
brain
the
food.
there's the junk food of content as well. So I feel like
that's
the
the
more
thing,
you
right? Like
make those right
we
decisions,
never break the chain on our addictions, right? On the easy stuff. Like that's what we never miss. I'm not gonna miss my junk food today. I'm not gonna miss my stupid videos, today. I'm not gonna miss my video games today. Like any addiction you have, like you're never miss. But then when you try to do it with the right things, like, hey, I'm gonna try to improve my diet. I'm gonna try to improve my physical exercise, kind of thing. Like anything, I want to learn this new skill. Oh, that's hard. I can skip it today. It's fine. I'll come back to it tomorrow. But you never skip the other stuff, the bad stuff. So that's the problem. And it's because it's easier. Of course it's easier. Anything that's ever been worth it was always difficult. That's the point of it.
Yeah.
The point of it is that it's hard to get done. It's difficult. And that's why there's not many people winning at that particular thing. And that's why you find like these specific champions that you fix on, you focus on, and you turn them into your references, and you want to be like them. And there's a reason not many are like them, because it's hard, man. It's fucking difficult. It requires like relentless training, commitment, consistency. You are consistent though, just with the wrong things.
Yeah, and it's weird
I wanna
because it's
change
all
that.
a matter of habit, right? Like
Yeah,
if you change one habit, like doesn't need to be all of them at once, right? Like change one at a time. Build
exactly.
up new habits. Like if you like to spend a lot of time, I don't know, binging on, like let's say that you got after work, like you're tired during that day, and you like to binge watch a lot of YouTube, like junk videos. Make a
Just
deal with
shorts,
yourself, right?
of any
Yeah,
kind. Yeah.
unless
Scrolling.
it's ours. Our shorts are top notch.
Yeah,
But
our shorts are educational and very productive, so watch them.
feel free to watch them.
Boost our
Sounds
numbers
so
up, please.
fucking bad, bro.
No, but I'm saying, make a deal with yourself, right? Like, oh, I can watch those videos for however many hours I want to, but after I come back from the gym, right? But after I like do a meal that is actually good for me, not like eat Cheetos and soda,
Yeah.
So
That brings
I
back
think
some childhood memories for me, like it's the way I've been raised basically. You can only do the cool stuff after you've done your homework. So after you eat the veggies, you can have some of that sugar if you want to, but never before. So it's like you have to earn it, right? You have to work really hard and then you
Mhm.
get the sweet
it's
reward.
something that I've been doing a lot. Like I'm on a pretty like strict diet right now that I'm trying to follow to like make sure that I achieve my goals. And we are allowed two cheat meals every week. Like it's me and my wife, right?
Hmm.
And every time that we think about, oh, do we want to use our cheat meal now? Like kind of like craving for this thing, and then you use that ticket, right? We always say like, okay, let's
Yo,
wait.
do they stack? So if you skip it this week, you get 2 cheat
No,
meals the
that's
next.
not how
Oh,
it
okay.
works. That's not how it works. But
Yeah.
what we are doing is kind of like, let's wait. Like instead of, let's say that I have this craving during lunch, right? And I want to
Hmm.
replace lunch for something that, let's say, go to a sushi bar or something. We
Yeah,
say like, oh, let's wait until dinner. And most of the time, if not always, it's just like a momentaneous thing, right? Like, oh, it kind
exactly.
of like it went away. I will eat my like pre-made food anyways, and it's like it's it's just that you need to overcome that momentaneous like weakness, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like as Joe Rogan says, right? Like kill your inner bitch, right? I love that saying because there is this inner
It,
inner voice in your head saying like, no, dude, it's just like you are allowed to do it, like
Yeah.
it will
We
not
can do
hurt
it.
you.
Come
Let's
on.
Yeah, we can do it. It will be
You
good.
deserve it. Yeah, you worked really hard for this. And then you know what
And
happens if you take it.
and
If you
then
take it, it's
then you
over
have to
for the
start
whole
over. Yeah.
week.
yeah, and
Right.
that's another thing, right? Because you have a limited amount, you kind of want to save it for something like very special.
That's what I mean.
And
Yeah.
there's nothing that is special enough that will be like completely blew our mind. So what happens most of the time, we use those to have social moments with, like, let's say I'll eat at my mom's house, right? I'll go
Hmm.
visit my parents and I'll eat there. To me, that becomes way more special because it has the social context involved, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I know that I want to eat there on the weekend, and I don't want to have like this pressure of like being too much on the diet or whatever. So I'll save the meal for that for then, and then I can spend the rest of the week saying, yeah, I'm like not cheating right now, even though I could, because I want to do that. Like being with my family is more important than whatever it is that I'll be eating on that day.
Yeah.
Or even like if I'm valuing the company, I actually took food from my house, like the pre-made stuff that we made. I brought there and I eat them like they are eating the like delicious stuff that she cooked, and I'm eating like my own meal, and I'm enjoying the time because I'm with them. So like it really puts in check what kind of values you are like
Yeah.
putting above each other. And I'm not saying like it's a perfect thing or that I don't ever fail, but I'm trying to keep uh that streak per se, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And even if you did claim that, oh, I'm so perfect, no one cares anyway, you know? And it's like, bro, people just have their own lives. They just, we like to judge other people and stuff. Like, oh, yeah, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, that's not how you do it. Or whatever. Or like, yes, you're so good, bro. You're so good. It's like those seconds of victory. And then everything's gone. Like, you go your way, I go my way. We have our own lives and everything carries on. Right.
Yeah, it's
So it's
each
like
of
those,
our decision,
those
right?
precious seconds of glorious, like, look at me, I'm so good, I won at this game, I achieved this, I achieved that, and then everything goes like, right.
There's no
Yeah.
winning, bro. That's the thing. You're competing with
And
yourself.
it,
They're not
I
competing.
think like someone could either use that as inspiration and fuel, or you know, not do anything with it and then still continue on their life and wondering why they're
yeah,
not achieving what they want to achieve.
point fingers around
So
and stuff.
the victim mentality again,
Yeah.
I
or the
think the
kind
only
of
thing that stops you, it's like if you really want something, the only thing stopping you is yourself, right? And I think
Bro,
it,
you're
it.
the only one
Do
who
you
can
think
make
that
this happen, and also the only one who can fuck this up, right? So
it's a lot of
if
pressure? Like I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
if you're the same person, you might as well choose which of those two characters you want to become, right? And that
Mhm.
again goes always down to every single decision. All those moments of like, should I delay this meal? Should I take it now? It's like, the Lord of the Rings with the ring and stuff like, I could really use it now. It's like the temptation, right? It's this specific moment is like, okay, I'm being tested right now. Most people don't even think about that. Of course I'll fucking take it. Give me that sugar, and they just take it. And then, oh, I'm so sad. It's gone. I no longer have it. But by constantly delaying that, you're somehow saving it for a specific moment that is going to serve a wider or a bigger purpose. Like I'm going to save my cheat meal for my friend's birthday, which is in the weekend. It's not any day of this week. So instead
Yeah,
of
and
today eating this thing for no reason on a Wednesday just because I feel like it, I'm
you
just
know,
going to save it so I can have it with my friends and we can all benefit from the same thing. And I delay I win, they win. It's like everything
yeah, it's
works.
because you are like,
But that's a
let's use
sacrifice though. You
the
have to
friend.
you have to endure that temptation moment, right?
Yeah,
Ah,
to me, it's actually like two sacrifices because imagine this way, right? It's your friend's birthday and he like really likes you. And something that happens here in Brazil a lot is like people love to share like the meal time or eating together is kind of like a bonding moment, right? So if you go to
Mhm.
someone's house, it's very
yeah.
likely that they will like instead of sitting at the living room, they'll sit you at the kitchen table. They'll like put some coffee, like open a homemade cake or like bread, and like that's really what we do around here. So those moments they have way more emotional load than they might have somewhere else. Like I didn't felt that as much in the US when I was there. Like doesn't seem like the culture revolves around that like familial moment around the table.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's say they're going to a friend's birthday. It most of the time it's really important for them that you actually like eat a slice of cake, that you eat whatever
Yeah.
it is that they're having. So you are valuing that relationship more than the like whatever it is that you wanted to have that prior moment that you had a craving, right? So you are sacrificing yourself for your friend in that sense, like, oh, I'm not eating what I supposed to here because I value him more than that. And in my
Yeah.
eyes that's perfectly fine, right? Or in some like other situations, which I also think there's no right or wrong, that's what I want to say, but like if you want to tell them and they make the sacrifice for you to like bring your own food there and like just sit at the table with them, that's also fine. But
Yeah.
pick your battles, I think, right? Like pick which sacrifice you want to make, because not making a sacrifice is not an option. So
Yeah. We might be entering some socially accepted behavior and stuff like that. Oh, he comes to my birthday party, but he brings his own food. Like, what the hell? Like they start to see it like weird, to you as normal. It's like,
You
hey
start to
man,
be
I'm on this
isolated.
journey to improve myself and life.
and
Yeah.
it also
I'm
depends
changing
on
my
your
diet.
attitude.
Yeah, yeah,
Depends on your
and
attitude. Like
your
I would
your
totally
circle,
do that.
your
Mhm.
social circle, right? Depending on how they're gonna take it and stuff.
Yeah.
But look, I personally don't have any problem with that because I try to put myself in their position and why would they do that?
Yeah.
And then you start to try to understand at least. And
Yeah.
then if it makes sense, then you go like, no worries, bro. It's fine. But some others go like
S-
they
Some
they
people will
take
say like,
offense,
"Oh,
from that.
you look okay
Yeah.
the way you are. Why do you have to keep doing that?" But to you,
Yeah.
it's like this is something I'm battling and going through, so I have to do it. Otherwise, like
Yeah,
you don't
but you're
know.
eating
You
that
don't even
stupid
know.
food, bro. Why you
Yeah.
eat that bland like
No,
nonsense?
dude.
Like it's
If someone asks more than once, right? Like
Yeah.
it's I think they finding it strange. I don't think that's
yeah.
like that weird, right? Like of course it's different. Like I'm not gonna lie and say like, fuck you need to respect me. That's not the point. But like ask once, ask twice, ask if everything's okay, if they need anything, and
Yeah.
move on. Like they're
Yeah.
your
Exactly.
friend anyway.
Stop inquiring or questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like they take it very personally,
Yeah.
very personal in some way, and it becomes like a projection of some sort. Like they would like to do that, but they never dared. So they're kind of dumping all that frustration on you, you know? Like, but why you do this, Andre? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you? And you're like, you wanted to do this. It's just that you were not brave enough to try it and to actually do this. Because let's face it, it's a birthday party. Everybody's having pizza. You're telling me you're not gonna have one single slice? It's your friend's birthday party, bro. Come on. And you're like, that that comes in conflict with my goals. So I can't really accept it. I'm here with you guys. I'm having fun. It's like all that sort of conversation happening, right? But
You
at the end
know,
of the day, you
It-
stood
I
up for yourself. You
I
carried
had
on with
this.
your
It's such
habits.
I had
like
this thing.
a small thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had this
But it's
experience
funny
before.
how
Of,
they try to make a big deal of it,
my friends would invite me to like Korean barbecue, and I'd go and I'd say, I'm just gonna sit there and like enjoy your guys' company. And they say, what? You're not gonna pay for the meal too? You're just gonna sit there with us and watch us eat? I'm like, yeah, because I'll eat beforehand because I'm doing this diet thing. And they're like, dude, you're crazy. Like, you're going
I'm
out
laughing
to
'cause-
a group event and you're not gonna eat with us.
Yeah. I'm laughing because I've been there too.
Yeah.
And it
I think
truly
we all
seems,
have.
yeah, it looks a little weird, like,
Uh-huh.
so you're just gonna come with us but not have anything? And they keep insisting, like,
Yeah.
you sure you don't want anything? I can get you something. And I'm like, bro, it's not about like whether I can pay for it or not. It's just that I don't want to eat anything from here. None of this food is
Yeah.
aligned with my goals, so I can't really make this.
But maybe there's something on the menu that might be good.
Yeah, maybe you want a soda. You want some juice? I'm like, bro, no, I'm fine with the water. It's okay.
Yeah, like give me bubbly water. Is that fine with you? Okay, thank you. No,
But yeah,
it's hard
I
for
can
people
understand
to,
because there is it's become some standard now. Like you sit
But-
down, you have the soda, you have the sugar, you have the junk food, and you just become the same as everybody else. You just behave the same way.
it kind
It's
of
like
makes me
socially
want to
accepted.
like. But doesn't it want to make you challenge the view then? Right? Like, okay, are you guys here only because of the food? Like, if you're finding like so problematic that I'm not eating, what are we here
It's like
for?
you're not
Is
here
it
for the company.
or is it
Yeah.
the food? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, hey, if you guys choose like a special place, like, hey, let's go to X place, which is like this distinguished restaurant or something. Like half of it becomes about the food, it is about the food at that point, but also who you go there with, right?
But if you're doing, let's say, you go to this distinguished place, right? You probably made plans to go there. You probably like,
Yeah.
oh, we've been. So you can, according to your own goals, you can also plan to have that, right? To have that moment. You can say like, oh, okay, I will like have that moment. I looked in the menu. There are things that I can like order that will not be like harmful to my. Let's say that like you have, because in my case it's easy because of those cheat meals, right? I just need to plan around that, and that's completely fine. But let's say that you have no cheat meals, right, ever in your entire life. It's very likely that they will have things that you can or cannot eat. It's very likely that you can talk and like, oh, can you do this, but like take one ingredient out because I don't eat that sort of thing. And even then, like enjoy the company. Or if there's nothing in the menu that you can eat or anything, you probably are not planning to go there anyways. Like if you're so focused on your goals, you would be aware of the kind of places that will serve like towards your goal. So
also something I observed is that what you're most likely to take away from that dinner is not how delicious that specific dish was, but the conversation you had with that friend catching up on the latest, I don't know, 6 months of your lives, all your achievements, all your failures, everything you've been debating.
That's
and
the
stuff.
best part of coming together with people.
Yeah. Catching up, just sharing your thoughts, sharing your minds, just getting, it's like at that point, everything else in the physical realm becomes like a secondary thing. Like, I don't even care where we are right now. I don't care what the food is. I don't care who's like, it doesn't matter. all I care about is you, the one I have in front of me, learning more about what you've done. I want to tell you about this thing that happened to me as well. See what you think about it. All that stuff. That's what you take away at the end of it. And I don't even know how we ended up talking about all of this, guys, because we were just supposed to discuss like
It's because
implementing advice
I
from
got in like without knowing any context, so we kind
yeah.
of derailed the conversation.
Andre, is it about money or not? Oh well, it depends. Because there you go.
I mean, the whole conversation is based on like young artists taking advice from big artists and not applying it to their work, or developing healthy habits to keep going long term in their career.
Yeah.
But they don't know how, and they listen. It just goes out one ear.
I feel like what Andre said earlier about like there's nothing perfect or imperfect or anything like that. It's just very relative. Everything's so I don't know how to say this, like what's the word, dude? Like subjective at some point. Like, but if you complain about never actually getting anywhere and all that stuff because you have never taken any action, then of course you're not in the right place to ask for those things, right? Why am I not winning if I'm not even trying? Like, bro, what? But if you're trying everything, bro, you're trying everything. You're trying your best and it's not working. Of course, something must be wrong. Feel free to ask anyone, do whatever it takes to get you out of that.
Those people are just lucky.
They're just lucky. They were just handed that victory. I'm sure his parents are like rich or something. Yeah. Daddy money, right?
That's what they always
Look,
say.
there are cases like that, right? Like it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What I think,
but choosing to make it like a general.
Does it help to
arguing
think
point
about that? Like, if it's not your situation, what the hell are you wasting time thinking about it? Is it your situation? No. Okay, move on. Like, don't think about what doesn't matter. And I don't know. There's this. No, go ahead.
I feel like there are people who have fortunate, wealthy situations, but they're still in sort of this defeatist mindset. Like they have all the tools and the resources necessary to become successful, but they're not like capitalizing on it, They're sort of just
You know what I think it is? Like when you earn it, when you work really hard for something, you value it in a very different way.
Or when you don't have
you get it for
much,
free,
right? To start with.
Like I have nothing, I have to work for everything, and everything I achieve is like high value to me. And I understand the importance of it. But if I'm born with all of that and I get it for free every time, it's like there's no level of effort I have to put in to get anything.
Or satisfaction, even.
Exactly.
But there's also like the situation that Don mentioned about like, the person has everything like in their favor to be able to do it and doesn't make it. I feel like thankfully in our area, I think it's very similar in sports. That's why we always make the comparison. But it's because it doesn't matter like where you start, it will take effort, right?
Yeah.
So there are areas in life where the effort might be minimal, and because they start in a very like fortunate situation, like they still can make it work with minimum effort. But in a skill-based thing, that's not how it works, right? Sports are skill-based as well, practice-based. So you can start like be the richest guy ever, like have the best trainer ever, have everything like the
you
best
still have
equipment.
To work hard.
You still have to work hard. So it's very rewarding that way, because the more it relies on hard work, the more it is on your own hands. If it like it's the same thing that we were talking about before, right? The only thing standing in your way is yourself. That's very high pressure, but very empowering as well. Because okay, if the only thing it's me, that's a good thing, because the only person that I can control is myself, right? So it's a like 2-in-1
your own
kind
mind.
of situation.
That's the problem. Like you're letting your mind rule you always. You're living like a slave to your own emotions and stuff. Like living every day based on whatever I feel like. And we've all been there. like riding that wave of like flowing,
It's funny
everything's
that you say that.
okay.
There's this Brazilian philosopher. I was watching like one of those shorts based on a podcast that he went to, and he was talking about, I think it's maybe Kant, that said that, like, true, is it Kant? I don't know, or Nietzsche, I don't know. There's one of those big philosophers that said like true freedom is doing what you don't want to do,
Yeah.
because if you're
Discipline.
doing what you if you're doing
Yeah.
what you want to do, you're being like a slave of your desires, right? So if you want to really be free of everything, you're choosing they're choosing to do the things that you don't want to do, right?
Exactly.
Do the hard work,
So
especially when you don't feel like it.
Exactly.
especially today, man, it was really hard to get out of the bed and go to the gym. I'll be honest with you, it was like one of those days where your mind saying like, nah, dude, just 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, one question. Aren't those the best days though? Like how did you feel after?
Well, you feel like, okay, I'm already here anyways, let's make it work. So it's
Yeah,
like
and when you're done, you
those are,
feel like, holy shit, I did
and
it,
you push
bro.
yourself even more, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I didn't, like, it wasn't that hard to get up for me to be here and be like extra lazy on my workout, right?
Yeah.
It was like a
There's no
few minutes
light
of
lows
pain.
today.
Yeah. When you wake up, you feel the cold air sweep through your body. You're like, I don't want to get out of my blankets. So you,
Comfort,
yeah,
comfort.
that's how I feel every morning.
Ironically enough, it's in those odd days that I feel myself going through that struggle, resisting, you know, when I actually perform the highest, the best. Like it's
Yeah.
when I'm the least inspired, when I actually do my best pieces. It's when I don't feel like going out there and working out or running, when I run the farthest. And I come up with like the most fucked up plans, like, you know what, let's do twice as much today. Like, you're crazy. Like, I can't do twice as much. And I do twice as much. And then I end up that session. I'm like, holy fuck, bro, we did it. Like, it actually happened. And I was not even willing to get out of bed this morning. And I ended up doing all of this. So it's like, when you push yourself through those situations, you prove yourself something. You're proving yourself that one, you are totally capable, and two, that it is possible. Like no matter how fucked up it sounds in your mind, it's doable. You can do it. But that's it's so powerful, man. Like it's your thoughts, is what the way you speak to yourself, the way you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it
It's
ties up with this tendency nowadays of like consuming fast paced content, lack of attention span, like very, short attention span, like you can't focus long term on anything. And you're just quitting at the slightest sign of struggle or adversity. Oh, uncomfortable. I'm out. It's like, bro, stay a little longer. And somehow you find power in that scenario, like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm going beyond my limits right now. I wanted to quit. I somehow managed to stay. I'm battling this constant need to get out of here, but I'm still here. So somehow I'm still winning, right? And you find that power of like, I am capable of doing this. Holy shit, this can be actually done. It's possible. So you
the
stay and you
reward,
do it.
man. It's, yeah, the
Exactly.
reward is also
And you get
the
that.
reward. It's you becoming proud of yourself because
Yeah.
you're
And
like,
it makes
oh,
you want
I
to do it
overcame.
again. Right. Which is quite the opposite of what happens with any of those addictions we discussed in the beginning, like, the detrimental practices. Like every time you do that, you feel like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. I'm not proud of myself. I don't want to do this again. But then you end up doing it again because, the cycle of the dopamine hits and stuff. But with this, it's the same mechanism. It's just the opposite. Like you are actually proud of something that
Yeah,
seemed unusually, no, not unusually, like not, it's not natural. It doesn't feel natural. Like, why would I put myself through all that pain and suffering? It's like, because it has a purpose. It's simple. If you want to cross that door into that room, which is the room of
Yeah.
success, you'll have to cross the painful door of this test.
You know,
You know what
I
you have
talked
to
with
do.
I talked to you guys about the like starting with like the jujitsu practice and all that.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that world, it's it kind of like hits you in the face with that, you know. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I'm a very like early days and I don't know shit, right? But is the idea of like you go there and you know every single day like that you're going to lose to someone, and it's alright. Like you're not there to like you are technically like fighting them, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
grappling with them, but the real battle is yourself, right? Like, am I a little bit better than like did I make the same mistake twice, or am I learning with every single mistake, right? Am I improving? Because then it's that like one more day, right? Oh, this is
Yeah.
just one more day in that journey, and there is no end to this. There is no perfection. There is no like. It's as if you are planting the seed of a tree, right? You're never going to like take any benefit of that, and it will live like way longer than you. And the reward is watching it grow. It's not like cutting it to make something or like
Yeah.
it's the enjoying like the actual going there every single day putting some water on it, you know, like it's enjoying that. And you see those like super old guys that are like masters of the masters and all of that, and you realize how much like inner peace they have and how much they enjoy the daily practice without the the need of objective goals in that area,
Yeah.
right? So like, oh, the goal is the practice, like that's the thing. And maybe we can learn
Mm.
a little bit from that in the sense of it's just like one more thing, is one more day of effort.
It's the
Like,
beauty of like fair competition, you know? Like you're facing an opponent that has the same capabilities as you, but if you spot some slight advantages, like, oh, he's bulkier, he's like more flexible, he's taller than me, or whatever, like, you know what to do. If you have a chance to kind of get closer to the level of that guy, you know what to do. I don't know, lift some more weights, push yourself more until you get a
oh,
little closer to that level, right? And then you're like, oh, but his technique is just so superior. Then you know what to do. You practice more.
we were like at practice yesterday, and my teacher is a guy just like I don't know, maybe a couple of like 20 centimeters shorter than I am, or something along those lines, and like
Hmm.
10 kilos lighter. And one of the guys in the training session, like he's same height as me, I think, but like 20 kilos heavier, and he was just kind of like smashing everyone, right, on
Yeah.
the rolling set, not in a like aggressive way, just like winning all of those things.
Hmm.
And our teacher was like, okay, now you're going to roll with me. And the guy who's like way shorter, way lighter than him, uh
Makes him tap out
was
instantly.
able to makes him tap out. And all of those excuses in my head of like, oh, of course he's winning, like he's larger and like stronger, right? Those were all like they
Demolished
became
because,
noise.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they were
rendered
demolished.
useless,
They were like,
invalid.
you see, those were all excuses. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
nope, that's not the case.
Your
You just suck. Like that's my inner voice talking to you.
your
It's like,
argument is invalid.
so it's great to see like
Which is kind
it's
of
great to be
similar,
challenged that way, you know. Like
of
that's the thing.
course.
It's not it kind of kills your ego in that way. Like you cannot find any excuses.
Yeah.
Like it's great in
Which
that
ties up
sense.
to what we were discussing earlier about like the journey, and depending where you start, you start with a lot of money or a lot of fame, or you're the son of this famous celebrity, or I don't know, it doesn't matter really. Like, because you're being proven that again, that argument can also be rendered useless when some unknown guy born in a extremely poor family, homeless people and stuff like that, then it's like those kind of stories. I'm sure you've heard them, right? Where the dude just becomes the CEO of this company, where, I don't know, like built from nothing, from scratch. Now what can you say to that? Oh, he was lucky. Oh, but
I was gonna
You know
have
who's
something to
talking
say.
there, right? It's just your ego. Just
Yeah,
you're just resisting so much. Just let it be.
or
Just
insecurity.
accept it. The dude won.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Take some inspiration from it. Apply it somehow to your own life, because I'm sure you can see in jujitsu when you're practicing and stuff. I'm sure you can how somehow see some analogies that apply to other stuff in your life.
Yeah.
Either the
Well, everything is
resistance
the
or
same thing, right?
we're just being strong enough to endure this little pain without breaking any bones. Just don't tap out yet. Just wait, Andre. He's gonna get tired first. He's gonna release, and then you're gonna escape. And then you're gonna grab him
Yeah.
like this, and then you're gonna win.
My
Or I don't
first
know.
goal is still like have a rolling session where I don't have to tap out. Like that's my first goal in mind. Like because it's 5 minute sessions, right? If I can have
Mhm.
one of those where one other, of course, they're more experienced than I am. Like I'm not like getting super this like mentality of defeat every time. It's more like a
Yeah,
challenge thing, right? Like, oh man, they made me
they
tap
made
out
me tap
again. Like
exactly. Yeah.
so it's not a getting super sad. It's more like, damn,
No,
dude,
but
the
it's like
mistake that
it's
I made
like
the first time
hating
is not.
to admit it, right? Like, "Oh, I
Yeah,
hate to
but
tap out, but I have to tap out. They made me do it again. Fuck, like I'm gonna work
yeah. So like
better."
first week tap out in like a couple of seconds, right? Second week, oh, it took 30 seconds this time. Next week, I'm
Nice.
like halfway done. So it's a that constant challenge. I think is the same thing as we do in our daily basis, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I did this task today on my work, and it's the first time that I do it. I made a bunch of mistakes. My art director kind of like gave me a like laundry list this long of things that I need to
Brought
fix in
down the
there, right?
hammer.
And then
Yeah.
exactly. And then like the third time that you do that task, like each observation, they become like smaller and smaller or more in art. I feel like things become more abstract the better you get at it. Because
Yeah.
you are not like making the perspective wrong for the 10th time, right? You're actually, oh, now that like all the fundamentals are there, let's talk about design, let's talk about principles, let's talk. And then it becomes a point where, okay, change like this brush stroke here to like do this. The proportions can be a little bit
You're now
better.
playing creative mode because you're
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
beyond the technical stuff. Now you can start to play around with all these techniques and dance with them. So it
Which is
becomes
what
like
I
a
saw.
signature move of some sort.
When I say like the teacher like tapped out the guy, right? It was he didn't use any force. Like he knows the guy is also like a white belt and has experience, right? So he was not extremely aggressive. He was.
Yeah.
I felt he wanted to do that to show us that hey, like this is kind of how you defeat this guy. And the main core thing that he did was he stayed calm, right? Each position that the guy did, he was like, okay, this is kind of how you counter that, and kind of like moving very like organically, right?
And you know
And
what? I feel like especially in sports, breathing is like the first thing to go away. Like you're no longer aware of how you're breathing, and it takes a huge toll on
yeah,
your performance
Yeah.
it
because you
does. It's
get
like,
paranoid and like panicked and like you don't know how to
yeah,
react.
exactly.
You
First
go into
time I did
survival
that,
mode.
dude, I looked kind of like
Uh,
a scared chicken, like like the guy was kind of like
Gasping.
sitting on top of my head, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm gonna die!" It's like, and it's I think
the
it's I like to say those things for the like people to understand that's normal, right? Like it's there's nothing shameful admitting that. I didn't know what
Of
to do. Of
course.
course, I would get scared. Of course, like instincts would take over instead of any rational part of the brain, right?
Yeah.
And
it's like
it's
a
hard for
This
people
flight
to
or
understand that
fight
it's
or flight mode. That's what it's called.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the first days, like again, tying back to our main topic here about like taking advice and stuff. It reminds me of myself in my first days, like when I was attending the first events and stuff. Concept art, here's my portfolio. It was like all over the place, right? Like I was not aimless, but not really following a specific path. Like I'm just trying a little bit of everything. So you show what you have at that point. And I was getting all that feedback from legends from the industry, right? And internally, I admit I would take it badly. I would be like taking it like very personal, like, but yeah, but they don't know this other detail of my story. So of course it looks wrong to them. Of course they will tell me to correct this, but this is actually okay because it makes sense based on this thing off screen that they don't know about. And I would make
So you're
excuses
saying that
like
you had
that.
excuses. Exactly.
Of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would make all those excuses and then I would sit on them and think about them. Like, you know, why am I feeling like that, bro? Like he doesn't know. Like for instance, I remember this guy, he told me that I should draw more and paint less. And at that point, I spent like the last 6 months just line drawing, sketching, right? So I was like so pissed internally, like, the fuck, bro? I've been sketching for 6 months. It's my internal dialogue, you know. On the outside, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, yeah. But then I thought, bro, he doesn't know. He doesn't know any of that. You never showed him your sketchbook. You just showed him this fully painted scene, and that's it. And then I also thought, and if you've been sketching for 6 months nonstop, and he still says you need to draw more, it means you're still not good enough. So you still have a long way to go, bro. And it's like the classic beginner mentality. Like I think I'm better than I actually am. You know? You might have seen that
Mhm.
as well in your gym or something with those jujitsu guys, like some beginners coming in there like, I got this, you know, and then they tap out instantly because
But
it's the
honestly,
reality of it.
I don't see that there too much because I think it humbles you so fast the first day that you're going. It's like,
That's what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah,
The first day,
it's
right?
Yeah.
but I understand what you mean, and I think it's good that you're saying that for people to understand that we all have those excuses going through our heads, right?
Hmm.
At some point, if not like all the time, it's just a matter of how you deal with them. Like the idea that you are not your thoughts, right? I think it's
Yeah.
very powerful because if you don't identify with those excuses and you are able to challenge them inside of your own head, like that's really the key to actually be
Yeah.
able to change them, right?
It reminds me of when I take my friends on my calisthenics routine. And I say it's just push-ups, man. It's just push-ups and pull-ups. It's like, yeah, I can do 25 push-ups, no problem. And at
Yeah.
the end, they're just like heaving and breathing so hard.
But
Like
can you do
Yeah,
them like
that's
this? And
with
you
the
show them
correct
like
form
a
and,
perfect form.
perfect form, slow variation, time over tension.
yeah.
And they just get wasted at the end. You're like, oh, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, which
I'm saying all of that because it's like I see myself in every other artist that just happens to go through the same thing, you know? Like I see myself in those years. Like when they make excuses, when they ask you for feedback, yeah, just this, that, and they start to justify their own mistakes. Like you don't need to do that. Like you don't need to tell me why you did it wrong here. I already know. I'm just pointing you in the right direction now. So just
and also like I don't care why it's still wrong.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh no, it's
like,
but the shoulder in that area is because of the perspective. I'm like, I know it's because of the perspective. Don't worry about that. Like I'm talking about the character design overall, you know, like the pose. Oh yeah, but you see here I did the knee like this, but don't bother. Like don't look here. Don't look here. And I'm like, bro, really? Like you can tell me not to look here. You're showing me
yeah,
the
if
whole
you don't want me
image.
to
Yeah.
look, don't draw it, right? Like it's,
Yeah. It's so bad. It's so bad. Don't look at this one. Just skip it. You know, and I'm like, why did you include it in your portfolio then? So it's almost always those same questions. Just it's a huge exercise, bro. That's when you ask for feedback and stuff. It's like a huge exercise of. It's a mental exercise for you. It's a mindset type of test, like ego test or something like that. You know, like okay, here you are in front of a champion from the industry, right? Whoever this guy might be, right? A legend of yours, favorite
yeah,
artist
I
of
hope
yours.
that you like him or her
I
if
hope,
you're asking
yeah,
for advice, right?
exactly. Um, well, maybe sometimes you just go to them because they're just happening to be
You know,
there. You
I
know, it's like
felt
this
that
huge event.
on.
all these
I
artists
felt
are
that at
here. So.
Lightshare. Not Lightshare, at Lightbox. I
Oh.
felt
Lightbox,
that
yeah.
because Friday sleep there. But-
We have a lot of legends on Lightshare that we brought on over the past years.
Exactly.
No, I felt that on Lightbox because we were giving at GB's table, we were giving portfolio reviews, and I felt like there were people that came there because they wanted to like work for a company one day. Like, hey, I want to work at the studio. Like, what should I like work? And those were the more uh direction feedback. Like they actually knew what they wanted. They had a goal in mind. They kind of had a sort of idea. And there were people that just showed up because it's free portfolio reviews. And those are the ones that I feel like, dude, like, why are you asking us for advice on this thing that we don't even do, right? Like, I would happily, like, I can give you my thoughts, but at the same time, my main advice is look for someone who does that already. Look for someone who inspires you in that way. Like,
Yeah.
random advice is just noise, right?
Yeah.
It's just useless stuff.
Yeah. But still, you know what? At the same time, I feel like it might be their lucky shot, like to hear that specific little seed of advice from an unexpected place
From a
that would
legend or
probably
something.
help them correct
Yeah.
their path or something. And I don't
Like
know. It's
if
like
you were to ask
a
advice from
possibility.
Sparth or Craig Mullins, like that piece of advice would be like a nugget of gold or something.
Yeah, no. I mean, you go this way, right? This is your main path. And then you just happen to kind of go sideways a little bit and oh, look, an unexpected kind of, it's like in an RPG game, like look at this vendor here, like let's see the items they sell. Oh shit, this is a legendary item here, it's like, bro, this was totally unexpected. I didn't see that coming. But this makes me bounce back and continue my journey with like a new sacred flame of the gods or something. Like now I know exactly what to do. And it's just the way it can happen sometimes. So no matter how right it feels to go this way, don't worry if you're just, you know, I'm lacking the word here, derailing from your main path a little bit. You'll come back later. So yeah, just do whatever you think you need to do. That's the thing. Believe in yourself. Just do what you feel is right.
Yep.
And yeah, just watch your mind. Watch what your mind does when you're asking for that feedback. Am I making excuses? Am I really trying to justify my own mistakes? Wait. So you're telling me the greatest of them all is right in front of me, telling me how to improve my stuff. And I'm telling him that, oh, but the anatomy here is wrong. Don't look at it. Oh, but the colors here are wrong on purpose because, like, bro, what? Like, do you hear yourself? Like, imagine what this guy must be thinking of you. Like, bro, why are you even here asking me for
Yeah.
feedback?
You're just wasting their time.
Yeah. So just listen, take notes. That would help, I think, taking notes. It's almost like live editing, on top of your picture and stuff. Take notes and just apply them later. I guarantee it'll benefit you. You'll have one piece that didn't go to waste. And I say that cautiously because, you might want to keep it wrong just for track record and stuff like, oh, that's the piece I was supposed to improve, but that's how bad it came out. So I kept it there just as a reminder of how bad I was.
Yeah.
Now this is what I do.
Honestly,
But you can improve it as well.
I feel the best advice is just learning from your own failure instead of asking for someone else constantly questions on like how they did it. It's just like repeatedly learning from your own mistakes and just trying to do better from them, But a lot of people don't want to go through the mistakes to actually improve.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, I'll ask this person for this shortcut and this will solve all my problems. I don't have to go through these mistakes. This is my cheat code that I can use for.
And again, that
Whatever
doesn't
it
mean
is.
like stop asking people for advice and stuff, but it means you should first have tried something,
Yeah.
You
right?
should fail.
And if you feel like it's not working, then yeah, sure. If you have
And
tried to
it will
help yourself, by the
also,
way,
yeah, like if you're
you have a
doing it, you'll
question,
also
try to
face like
fix it.
specific issues, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Because it will give you a direction, like you will know at which point you're struggling, right? And then you can ask for like specific feedback. Oh, I did this piece and I struggle like here. Do you know, like, do you have any tips to solve this thing?
That's the worst thing. Like, I know I'm struggling here, and I'm choosing not to do anything about it. I'm just gonna check on this guy first, see what he says. Like, that's wrong. Like, fix it, and then if it's
Oh,
still
but
wrong, then ask the guy, right?
yeah, exactly. Like I do think there's a point where like you know it's wrong, you don't have the knowledge how to fix it. I think that's a fair like point at which people get and like I get and everyone gets.
Hmm.
And then my first solution would be try to find a solution yourself. Right? Again, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. There's so much content online. The chance is that someone out there will have made content that will help you in that thing. And then you don't even like I equal looking online to asking for help. Right? That's how I like you're just asking like, oh Lord internet, give me your help. How do I fix this? You know? Like
Yeah.
that's there's this like this saying like it's a probably in the Bible or something along those lines, but it's like ask and you shall be given, right? But that ask is not just ask for other people or pray
And do nothing.
or do whatever. Yeah, I think asking is actually like looking up. It's getting out of your own way to
Yeah.
find that help, right? Asking is not just literally asking. It's not just like, please give me the solution. That's not asking
Yeah.
in my ways. To me, like asking is, hey, I tried this 100 times and still not quite right. Can you help me out? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's
Like,
actually
if you know
asking.
something's wrong and you're not acting on it, then it's your fault. Like, why are you not taking action and fixing that? Because if you do that, let's say with a painting, like, this specific thing in the painting is wrong. And let's say you know how to fix it, but you're kind of lazy enough to reach out to go for, asking for some feedback to someone else. And you're going to have them. Here's what's going to happen: they're going to tell you the exact same thing, and you're going to reply if you're um, unfortunate enough to let those thoughts speak out loud because you're aware of it. You're going to say, I know it's wrong. And then you're going to get yourself in this situation where the guy is feeling like you're wasting his time because, like, if you already know, why are you here? Like, fix it, then come back with something that you're genuinely struggling with. Because if you already know, you should have fixed it. But then again, Andrea, what you said, like, maybe they don't know how to fix it. Like, they kind of sense there's something wrong in this image. I just can't put my finger on it. Can you help me figure
Oh,
that out? That's a different story, in my opinion.
yeah.
Because
I
then,
think it's two different scenarios, right?
yeah,
There's the
that's the
guy
thing.
like, oh, I know it's wrong here, but I haven't done anything about it. And then there's the guy that he doesn't show you the piece, and when you mention it, he says like, "Oh yeah, I know it's wrong." Right? It's more like, "Hey, check this piece out. I made this mistake. Do you know how to fix it?" Like they're pointed towards that directly because they know
Yeah.
their struggle, which is different than, "Hey, what do you think of this awesome piece of art?" Wait, is there a mistake there? The guy like, yeah, I know there's a mistake. So it's not awesome, dude. So like,
Don't
you
bother.
know it's not
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Hey,
So
that's
why
something that I think helps a lot to narrow down the conversation when you're being specific about your questions during a feedback session. I think it helps a lot because otherwise, here's this image. What do you think? And you're like, anything in particular or the general thing? Yeah, it's a cool
Everything's just
image.
off. What should I fix?
Everything's wrong. Repeat the whole thing.
that's why I always start like feedback sessions asking more than like
Yeah.
looking at things or saying anything. Like,
Yeah.
what's the goal?
Yeah.
Why did you do this? Right?
Asking like, what is your weakest point that you're struggling with the most? And usually that's when they'll give an answer. Oh, my anatomy is poor. Okay, then do gesture drawings or whatnot.
What are you doing to fix it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be specific because I feel like everyone has a different goal depending on, their timeline in their career, like at which point they find themselves in. Some people are still struggling with some basics, like I don't know, the fundamentals, perspective or this or that, and some other people are like, yeah, I'm trying to improve my storytelling. What do you think about this image? Or some people are like, yeah, I'm trying to improve my hard surface design. Like, what do you think about this? And stuff like that. Like being specific, what I just said might not be too specific, but being specific as much as possible just helps the conversation to flow a lot faster and better and more clearly. But yeah, it's something that I was asking Dom in the beginning. Like we were discussing all these things, like you need to improve yourself, you need to fix this, fix that. And I'm like, okay, Dom, how would you say you could achieve that? Because we're talking about what, but not how. So
Mm.
yeah, I wanted to ask you, Andrea, what do you think about this? Like, how would you come up with a goal for somebody listening that feels aimless, like lost, like I don't know what I want, you know? I need
Oh,
some
okay,
That's
goals.
a
that's
Like,
tough
a
answer
yeah.
to
I don't
or
know what I
question is.
want. Like that's the deepest one.
That's
It was
that's like
like
soul searching right there. You need to find it
yeah,
out.
but
yeah, no,
let's
let's
talk
say
about
like, yeah,
image
I like
making because I think
art.
it's easier.
I'll try my best to kind of become, to act as this specific character we're elaborating here.
Oh, so
Like,
okay,
okay, I
okay.
don't know exactly. I like painting, and I I've always been drawing all my life. I'm 17, okay? I'm
Hmm.
17 and yeah, I live with my
Okay, so
parents. Everything's fine. I'm considering like studying this degree in like art and stuff. It's quite expensive. My parents don't have the money, but they're still kind of willing to support me somehow, even though I feel like, yeah, it's kind of hard
okay,
for them.
I
So
must
I don't
say
know exactly how to do this. I just know I want to be an artist. I want to work like you. I want to work at a studio. I like Blizzard games. I play a lot of Blizzard games. So I want to work at Blizzard.
okay.
that's
First of
that's
all,
the example.
your
Maybe it's not the
interpretation
best
of
one.
17 years old, it's on point, dude. Completely aimless.
I fucking knew it.
No, but no. Okay, so the I think the my advice would be to do kind of like what I did to myself when I
First
was
thing,
that age.
get a six pack.
Of course, clearly that
Yeah.
there's no way that
Learn
can help you,
jujitsu.
right? No, I think the key point to me would be asking like, okay, I'm sure I want to do art. Like, why? Why are you sure? Like, is it
Because he
the
likes
only thing that is
games.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what? Millions of people play games, right, around the world. There's like
Yeah.
engineers that play like games. Playing
You're not
games is
helping me.
just like yeah, I don't
That
care.
doesn't encourage me.
No, look, it's more like try break down everything that you do on a daily basis, the things that you like to do, the things there's the things that you do and the things that you like to do, right? They're not necessarily on the same camp because when you start studying your own behavior, you will understand that there are things that you feel motivated and like you feel meaning when you're doing, and there are things that you just do because you are used to doing them. And then try to think of the moments that you sense the most like the life's the most meaningful for you, and see what are you doing in those situations. So let's say yeah, let's use the six-pack example, right? Maybe at the gym is when you feel the most
But
like
yeah, it's like a
meaningful time.
nice packed up, baggage of meaning. It's like a six pack. A six pack means a lot of things. It means
Yeah, so exactly,
um
like let's say that you like that sort of thing, right? Maybe you just enjoy art or enjoy games, right? Maybe what you actually feel the most is the most meaningful thing to you. It's developing a like good physique and helping people do that as well, because you went through the same journey yourself. Just because you like something doesn't mean that you would like to have a career on that as well, right? Like I enjoy a lot of things. I enjoy like watching movies. I don't ever see myself as a movie critic, right? It's not the same thing. So
Yeah.
studying your own behavior and understanding why you do the things that you do will give you a good understanding of who you are as a person, and really study that. Like, don't assume that you know yourself, because chances are that you don't actually know yourself, especially at 17, right? Like,
Yeah.
the chances that you are actually deeply thinking about everything that you do, like, they're very slim. So think what you do, why you do those things. Uh, at this point, you probably like studied many different subjects in school, so you know the things that classes like kind of grip you, and you know the classes that don't actually. Some of them might be like teacher's fault or something, but you need to work with your limited experience, right? So we are talking about someone that is like very young still, and then gun for that, right? Like study that on your own free time. And if you're still feeling like that's something that you want to do, you are enjoying the study sessions, then okay, then you can spend like 20 grand a semester, you know.
Yeah.
But I would hold off on the idea of you need to straight up jump into college or something. And after like I didn't have that chance, but I do think the 1 year break after high school, I do think that's a like very valuable thing if people can afford that, because I think you may potentialize how much outcome you have after you know what you want to do, right? Because, dude, I don't know, man. When I was 17, I was a like completely dumb, stupid, young idiot adolescent, and I had
Same.
no idea what I wanted to do. I wanted to like have a nice life, get rich, get girls. That's all, right? And what do you expect? I had no plan for anything.
Yeah,
So,
like at that age, you don't. I don't think you have this deep perception of both the world and yourself. You know, like you're kind of in a way distracted. You tend to cling on to things that you think you want
And
because you're basically imitating. It's like a behavior that you're trying to fit in some social
yeah,
group or
I
something.
think at the time you're
They do it,
surrounded by
so
a lot of people too. Well, depending on your circumstance, but most of the time
yeah.
when you're in school at that age, you're always like with lots and lots of people. So you're influenced by a lot of different things and you don't really know your true self or your true identity yet because
It feels like
you're kind of
competition, you know.
merging in with a lot of these different groups, but you're not really finding yourself. So that's when you have to kind of, well, you break away over time as you grow older. That's why, like, the more people get older, they start to have less friends because, you know, friend groups are harder to form when you're older.
It's funny that I said that, because like if I recall of my group of friends in high school, we were very much alike. You know, everyone's similar to each other, like
Mhm.
doing the same things, like playing the same sports, playing the same games, liking the
Yeah.
same stuff. And when I look at like us now, like we are so different from each other that it's like, oh, this is who we truly are, right? When we don't have that like social pressure of being like fitting within that same
Yeah.
group,
That's what I was gonna say.
which
It's like this almost this competition kind of going on where if I don't do the same thing, I'm out. And I wanna be in. I wanna belong to this group. So I might as well do the same thing, even though I don't like it. But then you start to fool yourself, like, I actually do like it, you know? And we're talking drugs, alcohol, games, going out, or anything like that. Like, even if you hate any of those things I mentioned, you still do them just to fit in. And like Dom said, when you grow a little older, you realize, wait a minute, what the fuck am I doing? You stop being a people pleaser. You start living for yourself, not for someone else. And that's when you find out, like what you just said, Andre, like we're so different now because we're no longer uh, binded or anyway bound by those
Social norms, right?
requirements. Yeah, like
and
those
also
social things.
like everyone makes different life choices, right?
Yeah.
And everyone has different like value systems in their heads, that like the things that they want. And again, like good for them, you know, like they follow their own like lives, and that's how it is. And I followed what I thought was correct, and we have different lives now. And it's like I think there is some like detachment that need to happen most of the time from like people to their like high school version, you know, because I feel like people
Yeah.
try to cling on to old friends a
Yeah.
lot, and it kind of like holds them back a bit. Like
Mhm.
there's this my wife is she was doing this course on basically like the course is called Plan Your Life, and a lot of that course is like very introspective stuff, like thinking about your current place and if you want to be there. And one of the things that the teacher said that was look at your friends and think that like if you met them today, would you be friends with that person or not?
Hmm. That's a good question.
And because if you are friends with them just because you know them for a long time, that I'm sorry, but that's like not good enough. I'm not saying that you need like
Yeah.
erase all of your friendships, right? But maybe you need to evaluate like if they are um valuable to you in like
Like your
today.
goals aligned together and things like
Yeah.
that. It's not just like fun all the time. Like you're actually
Yeah.
on the same wavelength of reaching the same destination.
Or even like different destinations, but you have like a similar mentality, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, you have what happens to me nowadays? Like, I have niche friends, right? So I have like, oh, the guys from the gym that work wise we have nothing alike, but when we are there, we are both working to improve in that sense, right? And then they
Hmm.
have like the art friends that are like, oh, when we like are talking about art, have the same goals. And then I have like friends like you guys that, oh, we all do art, we have like in the art niche we have a bit of different goals, but we see life in a very similar way, so we have like very similar value structures. And
Yeah.
understanding that that's fine, like that's friendship as well. You don't need to um like be there with the same person
Yeah, it's like you
finding
have
that
these
like
different spheres coexisting within the same space, you
eh,
know,
yeah, and you don't
and they're
need to
kind
take
of
like the person 100% with
intersecting
it.
each other, and that's where
Yeah,
you both coincide and you align with some ideas.
which makes you be positive to them in that scenario, right? But
Hmm.
also like if you don't necessarily align with them in something else, that's fine because you don't have to live with them like 24/7. It's
Of
like
course, yeah.
which happened when you were a kid, right? Like you thought,
Hmm.
oh, if I don't like to play basketball with them, they will like
What
not
am I gonna
like me,
do?
even though I
Yeah,
like everything else that they do. It's like
yeah.
what?
So I think we're kind of coming to this answer to the question that we asked about like how to set up a goal and stuff. You know, how do I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to do. So the answer is it probably takes time. You know, like when you were a teenager, you didn't know any better than to imitate other people until you become like them. So they accept you in the group. Now you're grown up and now you understand the value of like sticking to your own vision, your own plan that is like being developed as a consequence of the experience you've been gathering through all these years. So it takes time. That's why some people laugh at the idea of a 17-year-old going desperate over like I don't know what to do with my life. No one knows at that age in a way. You know, you're just as lost as everybody else. Same story at 20 for some people, same story at 25 for some people, and even 30 for some other people. They just bounce from one thing to another, trying things, trying different careers. It's
Well,
where you find
I'd
these
rather you do
sudden
that.
switches.
Like if they're doing that, I think it's fine. If they're in the search, you know, if they're just like mindlessly
Just
doing
waiting, you know?
waiting, I think that's the issue,
Yeah.
right? Like if you are constantly making the mistake, oh, I tried this career, that's not it. I tried this other career, that's not it. Like good for you. You are like going after it, you know? I don't care if you find what you actually love, your true passion by the age of 50. Like you are looking for it, so you're not wasting your time. Now, if you are literally like wasting your time doing nothing and nothing on the like free time to improve your situation, that's what
Yeah.
really like it pains me to see wasted
That's
potential. You know, it's
when
like
you slowly go into regret. Like as you're older, you know, like I should have done those things, but I didn't take the initiative time to actually plan it out.
Yeah.
I just wasted
You
that
know the
time doing like
expression,
bull crap.
you know the saying, like the more I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work if you just, sit in bed all
Sit
day
idly. Yeah.
waiting. Like, oh, something's gonna happen at some point. It's not, bro. Because you're the one making those things happen. You're basically
well,
influencing
That's how
everything.
people tend to see how other people get opportunities, is they think that, oh, he just probably sits on his butt all day, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I should do the
It just
same too,
happened to
but
him.
yeah.
there's for sure like a bit of luck in everyone's
Yeah.
success, right? Now, of course, but
It
there's
comes
like,
from
are you going
the
to
work.
count on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like no, dude,
It's not something to rely on,
Mhm.
no.
So it's up to you. And knowing that it's up to you, now you have to make a choice. Are you going to act on it or not? Because everything that happens is your fault anyway. If you lose, it's your fault. If you win, it's your fault too. So you might as well try to, steer it in that direction where you're actually winning. So
Yeah, give yourself the best chance possible, and then like if you're like really working as much as you can and studying as much as you can and still doesn't work, then maybe you can blame the universe, okay? But I really doubt that you are working every single
Yeah.
day, 12 hours a day, and that will like still not
Actually
work.
grinding. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you what,
like
the universe, as chaotic as it seems, it's a pretty logical place. It's impossible that someone who works just like you described, hard every single day, tries everything they got. It's
okay,
pretty
impossible
impossible
is a
that that
very
guy.
strong word.
I know, right? And I'm using it deliberately in this sentence because I think it really defines the outcome of this whole equation. If you work hard, you will make it happen at some point. If you just never stop, never give up, always give in everything you've got, something must happen. Maybe not the way you expected it,
No,
but at least you'll get your foot through the door somehow.
yeah, I think it will for sure improve your situation. Like maybe you don't
Of
achieve the goal
course.
that you were like aiming for, the highest one that you
Yeah.
ever thought of.
Which is
And then
fine.
again, impossible is very strong, but like the chances that that happen, right? That you do as much as you can and nothing changes, like yeah,
It's
I
very hard
really have
to.
it. I really have that. Then like the first thinking that came to my head, it's like then you didn't do everything, like
Yeah, exactly.
so. Yeah, I think it's all about giving yourself the best chance because like you must think that you deserve it if you're going after it. So
True.
You believe in something, then you act on it, and it ends up, you know,
A- a-
becoming
and
Manifesting.
even if you
something.
say that like that's the cool interesting, right? Like you don't actually need to believe. If you just do it without even believing it, that will work the same way because
I
Yeah,
think
but I mean,
I think you
believing in
still
it
need
may.
self belief. So if you don't believe in yourself, how's anything gonna, or how's like other
no,
people gonna
yeah,
believe in you
but
too?
I like
Or
that because there's the like diet analogy again, right? The
yeah.
good thing about diet and exercise is that you don't actually need to believe in it for it to work. No, like it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was that was talking about science in that way. Like science is the thing that, let's say that humanity like ceases to exist, and somehow, so like in the future, another species rises with intelligence. The things that are true in science now would still be true then. You don't actually need to
Hmm.
believe in that for it to be true, right? So like
Yeah.
that's the cool thing, like and how I see working hard. You don't actually need to believe that it like you don't need to want to do it, you don't need to believe in
Yeah.
it, you don't need to like it, you don't need to like have any feelings towards it. Like
You
it will
know,
work.
it's the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way it is, exactly. So
I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah. We've
Yeah.
been going at it for a while now, right? It's been like an hour and a half or what?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I don't know,
But
man.
But
anyway, we hope this helped some of you guys.
We hope you
Never give
guys
up,
take
never
advice and
settle.
use it.
Yeah.
And apply things to your life, and you will see
Oh, man.
the benefits. So
And if you're going to give up, do it already, because I don't want to waste time on you.
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank
We'll
you,
see you
guys.
guys in the
Thank you,
next
guys.
episode. Take care.